Hi and welcome to my channel. I am Ayobola Adebowale, your baby's doctor, and today we'll be talking about fever. We're talking about fever in children, how to manage fever in children, causes of fever in children, the do's and the don'ts when managing fever in children. But before we go into that, I would like to talk again about my channel. Remember that my channel is the place where I give you reliable information about your child's health and well-being. So I don't joke with this. I go all out to look for topics, to look for things that are actually of concern to parents, and I do a lot of research trying to bring things together so that I can give you reliable information that will help you and your children. So this is what this channel is about. And you know the way YouTube works. We need more subscribers, we need more likes, we need more people clicking the notification bell. I need more people to even know about this channel, so I need you to share to as many people as possible. So if you have not subscribed to this channel, please look under this video. You see a subscribe button. Please click that button to subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell. This one will basically just remind you each time I post a new video so that you don't get to miss out on anything. And of course, like the videos. When you like the videos, YouTube sees it as a very important video and makes it available for people to see. So that is the way it works. And if you're just joining me for the very first time on this channel, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a wonderful journey so far, and I'm always excited to have new people watch my videos. So thank you so much for joining me again today. So fever. All right, so fever is defined as temperature more than 37.5 degrees Celsius. All right, so for the degree Fahrenheit, it is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit. So anything greater than that is fever. I know a lot of people have issues with fever. They think when someone has malaria, that is fever. No, fever is just basically high body temperature. So when you go to the hospital to say your baby has fever, what the doctor or the nurse picks from that is that your baby's body temperature is high. So yeah, we have to actually know that so that we stop mixing fever with infections and all that. Fever is just basically high body temperature, which is greater than 37.5 degrees Celsius. Now, I encourage every parent to get a thermometer, preferably a digital thermometer for your child, so that you can actually check. You know, sometimes people come to the hospital and say, I felt my baby's temperature and it was hot. But the truth is, baby's temperature is not hot. So yes, you have to get a thermometer to know when your baby's temperature is high. So let's go to the causes of fever. There are a lot of things that can cause fever. Like, you can go on and on and on and all the whole day and you still not exhaust the list of the things that can cause fever. But for children, the common things that cause fever are infections, viral infections, most common in children, bacterial infection. So when they have rhinitis, running nose, when they have all those viral infections, the ones that come with rash, the ones that come with cough and all, they can present with fever. So any form of infection, malaria in this environment can cause fever. So there are a whole lot of things that can cause fever. However, in younger babies, especially preterm babies, overwrapping your baby can actually increase the body temperature and cause hypothermia, that is increase in the body temperature. So yes, that one is like a non-infectious cause of fever. Or if the temperature outside is very high, well, thanks to climate change, so people are experiencing really high temperatures. So if the temperature outside is actually very high, the body temperature will also increase and one can develop hypothermia or fever. So those are some of the things that can cause fever. But generally, the most common causes of fever are infections. Okay, so your child has a viral infection, bacterial infection, whatever form of infection, they can present with fever. Now, it is very important to know what to do, because most children, the first symptom that they would have when they have any illness, any infection, is fever. So you have to know what to do and what not to do. I made a video some time back on febrile convulsion, that is convulsion that is associated with high temperature. So I'll put the card here so that you can just check the link and check out the video. So you have to know what to do when your child develops a fever. And this is why I'm making this video. I had a poll on Twitter some days back asking questions about how people manage fever in their children. And you'll be surprised that, of course, a lot of people go for the upper things first before the basic things that you can actually do in the house. So I'm going to put the poll here. You can see that a lot of people went ahead to give antipyretics like paracetamol and all that before even considering tepid sponging or exposing the child. So now we're going to talk about management of fever step by step. So you discover that your child has fever or your baby's body is hot. So for example, if your baby's temperature is between 37.5 and 38, no more than 38, you can just, if the child is wearing a lot of clothing, wearing singlet, wearing shirt, wearing sweater, you know the way we do sometimes, you can just remove some of those bulky clothing. You can remove the sweater, you can remove the shirt, and just leave the child with singlet, allow fresh air to blow on your baby. So that is one way to reduce the temperature. Now, if the temperature is now higher than 38, but not as high as 38.5, for us, it's not as high as 38.5, what do? You can tepid sponge your baby. Now, when we talk about tepid sponging your baby, it is very important that you note that the water that you're using to sponge your baby is tepid. That is, the temperature is not cold. It's not cold water. Because when you use cold water to sponge your baby, it's counterproductive. The blood vessels will constrict and then the temperature will go up and haywire. So please don't use cold water when tepid sponging your baby. You have to use warm tepid water. Usually temperature is around 32 to 35 degrees Celsius. Okay, so yes, warm water. So please, not cold, not ice cold water or cold water. That would further worsen the fever. So you can tepid sponge your child. And when you tepid sponge your child, we like to allow you leave little water. Don't dry it up. Just leave little water on the body so they can dry up by itself. So that way the body loses some heat, and then of course the baby would get a little bit cooler. The third method. Now you have tried exposing your child, you have tried tepid sponging, or your baby's temperature is still like about 38. Now it's approaching 38.5 and you're getting worried. You can't really go to the hospital at the moment. You just want to do something to bring that, because fever is crazy. It is uncomfortable. Your child will be cranky. Even when I have fever, I'm cranky, I'm angry. So yes, it's actually very uncomfortable. So you might want to go to the next level of giving what we call antipyretics. So those are drugs that can reduce the body temperature. The most common that we use in children are acetaminophen, which is popularly known as paracetamol in this environment, and ibuprofen. So those are the drugs of choice that you can use to reduce the temperature of your baby. So if your baby's temperature is already approaching 38.5 and you need to reduce it, please, you can go ahead and give antipyretics. So those are the ways by which you can manage your baby's fever at home. Especially if your baby has a viral infection. I know that a lot of times you would have heard us say, even on this channel, I must have said it times and times without number, that viral infections will spend the number of days they want to spend and then go, whether you do anything or not. But then you want to make the child as comfortable as possible. So in that case, you have to know how to manage the fever. Okay, I'll make a video to talk about viral infections soon. All right, I'm going to note that. All right, it's time to talk about the don'ts. I tried as much as possible when I was talking about the management not to talk about the don'ts, although I still entered it a little. But now we'll talk about the things that you don't do when your baby has a fever. So number one, I already said it. When you're tepid sponging, use warm tepid water. Don't use cold water. Don't use ice water. Don't use cold chilly water, because you want to reduce the temperature. Like I said, this will increase the temperature and it's actually counterproductive. As much as possible, if it's preventable, if the temperature is not as high as 38.5, don't give antipyretics. Remember that those are also medications that have side effects. Any medication has its own side effects. So if you can avoid it, it's best you avoid it. So if your temperature does not get to like 38.5, you can still try to expose the baby and tepid sponge, and then just leave the antipyretics somewhere. Remember, like I said, side effects. So you have to consider those things before making decisions, because a lot of parents would have pumped their children with a lot of antipyretics before coming to the hospital. And unfortunately, we don't like it because we don't even get to, we are unable to analyze the kind of fever, the pattern of fever that would even suggest what is wrong with your child. So if it's not necessary, please don't give antipyretics. And do not give two types at once. You know, some people want the effect to be very high, so they do what they give paracetamol and ibuprofen together at once. So please don't do that. If you're giving paracetamol, just use the normal dose of paracetamol. If you're giving ibuprofen, use the normal dose of ibuprofen. Another thing is, do not cover your child. Do not even cover yourself when you have a fever. You know, the way the body works, when the body temperature is high, the body shivers. And the idea of shivering is to lose heat. Okay? So when you see someone shivering, automatically what you do is what? You get a blanket and then you cover the person up. Unfortunately, when you cover the person up, you're going to increase the body temperature. The person will continue feeling cold, the person will continue shivering, and then this cycle will go on and on and on and on. So shivering is a physiological process in which the body tries to lose heat. So don't try to prevent the shivering by covering the baby, because this will just further increase the temperature of your child. Okay, and then the last one, please don't give antibiotics or anti-malaria empirically. So when we talk about empirically, it's like you're just giving it like, let me just give it. Let me give it to cover whatever is going on. I don't know what is wrong with this child. I don't know if the child has malaria or he has typhoid or he has whatever. Let me just give these antibiotics. Please don't do that. Antibiotics are supposed to be prescription drugs that you get only from the hospital, but well, unfortunately that is not the case these days. But don't give anti-malaria or antibiotics until you get to the hospital. So these are the things I have for you today. Remember, expose, Tepid sponge, then antipyretics. And the things not to do: don't cover, don't use cold water, don't mix your antipyretics, and don't give antibiotics or anti-malaria until you get to the hospital. Of course, when your child has fever, you try to, reduce the temperature and it's not working. It is time for you to go to the hospital. Don't go there and just be feeding your child with antipyretics and be waiting for things to just, it means that there's something there that needs to be treated. Okay, so if you expose your child and the temperature is still there, it's time for you to go to the hospital so that you can see the doctor. They test your baby, do whatever they want to do, and then treat your baby accordingly. So that is all I have for you today about fever. Easy peasy, right? Remember everything I've said today about fever. And remember that I said that fever always has something causing it. There has to be something causing the fever. And if you don't remove whatever it is that is causing the fever, the temperature will be there. It will just keep going. When you give antibiotics, to calm down. When the time of the antibiotic has expired, it will go up again. So you need to actually treat the fever. So please take your child to the hospital, let them get assessed, and then the fever will be treated. But this is just how you manage fever at home before getting access to the hospital. I hope these tips are actually very helpful. I hope that this video has, changed one or two things about the way you think you can manage fever. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I am Ayobola Adebowale, your baby's doctor, and it is always a pleasure to bring you reliable information about your child's health and well-being. Do well to subscribe to my channel, like, and click the notification bell so that we can get notified anytime I post a new video. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you next time. Bye.